Are you finally done, or do you need help? A full-sized Velociraptor, or whatever those things are called, was waiting for me outside the restroom. Thank God that thing wasn't real. I was really scared for my tiny white eyes. How I ended up there and why I won't be going back to Japan that soon, I will tell you now. Hello, I'm Tony and this was my trip to Japan, the first country on my world tour last year. After my endless flight in cattle class, I headed straight to my hotel. Since I wasn't going to spend much time in the room anyway, I just booked the cheapest one. That was a mistake. For those of you who don't get it, diner hotel doesn't mean dinner not hotel. I don't understand you. Check in. Yes. Door 167. What door? Room. I need a room. Yes. You are checking in. And I thought the Japanese built good high-tech robots. After that ordeal, I was looking forward to a cozy bed, a warm shower and a little relaxation. Not now. With my room key, I stood in the front of a wall of capsules. I was excited and thought, am I going to be frozen and sent to Pandora now? But another disappointment. Next time I will book my hotel in a travel agency, I thought to myself. I'm a bit shy, so this was the perfect time for a quiet bathroom break without any stress since home. No. As a tourist here in Japan, nothing seems to go without stress. I felt like I was in a spaceship. This toilet has nearly more buttons than my cell phone. After I showed the toilet just how well my pork stomach works, the cleaning programs kicked in. I felt cleaner than I have been ever in my life, thanks Japanese engineering. Now nothing can stop me. Are you finally done, or do you need help? There stood a full-sized Velociraptor robot waiting at me behind the corner. I'm out here. I have to get out of this hotel. I was very hungry and decided, in true tradition, to go for ramen and sushi like in the Japan movies. A cool world traveler like me just needs energy. The ramen soup was fantastic and the sushi tasted worlds better than the stuff from the gas station at home. And it was cheaper too. I bet you didn't have to run to the bathroom every 5 minutes after eating that. The fish was so fresh I briefly thought it was still twitching, but that was just my right eye. But we would get to that story later. As always, I needed a coffee after eating so my athletic body wouldn't turn into a sleeping mess. Suddenly I found myself at a massive intersection. My trained eye recognized it immediately. Shibuya. I was standing in the middle of hundreds of people. At 6:03, I stood out in the crowd like a lighthouse at a custom party I wasn't invited to. When the light turned green, everyone went on the other side as there were free beer. Since I was a pretty laid-back guy and my stomach, full of sushi, wasn't exactly up for a sprint, I walked across at my usual work pace. Suddenly, the intersection was empty, and I was the only one standing in the middle. Just then a Mazda RX-7 drifted past me with pinpointed precision. I swear I could hear the Tokyo Drift song in the air. I saw my life flash before my eyes. All these years in school and now an old Mazda is going to end my journey. Thank God this Japanese Van Diesel knew exactly how to maneuver his car around my tiny white eyes. Uninsured but in shock, I reached the other side with trembling legs. Now it was definitely time for a drink. I'm really picky but easily impressed. The cafe with the most lights went. From the outside it looked unremarkable. The name was Maid Café. 4 young Japanese women in eye-catching maid outfits greeted me in high-pitched anime voices. I sat down and immediately felt like the big boss. For the first time in my life and especially for the first time since I've been single again. They brought me the coffee for men. It was good but the $15 it cost really hurt. Especially when you know how much beer you could get for that. I looked around and noticed that almost everyone there was a man. What a coincidence. Suddenly I spotted a pretty Japanese woman at the bar. I gave her a wink and she actually came over. I felt like James Bond, just cooler. As an old charmer and someone who understands women, I asked her, Hello sweetie, what's your name? We talked about my trip around the world and that I'm single for about a month. She said she was single too and that we could go somewhere else to talk. That comment put a smile on my face. Off to the Lego store Tokyo with a pretty lady. But no. She wanted to go full throttle, so we took her Kawasaki for a spin. She showed me to Yusa Market, the largest fish market in the world. A real tourist attraction with tuna auctions that were bigger than anything I had ever seen. You could even buy the last pieces of the octopus from Pirates of the Caribbean here. Going shopping here on an empty stomach is a real mistake. The next day I wanted to see Japan's nature and headed west. The train station was cleaner than my 3-room apartment, which not even Santa Claus visits anymore. The train arrived right on time, down to the millisecond, but it was packed to the brim. Not boring or bland, I let myself be pushed into the rail car by an usher, a professional train pusher, using sheer force just like in the old days. Everyone was cuddling with everyone else. Suddenly my back started getting warmer and warmer. I turned around and looked straight at a sweaty sumo wrestler who was busy searching his phone for last minute do-it-yourself birthday gifts. This is love. Left the city, the landscape turned green. Really green. I hadn't seen that much green since a little kid pointed a laser pointer in my right eye. I will find you. The now empty train drove through the mountains of Japan. It was as bumpy and hilly as my skin during puberty. And then I saw it, the famous Mount Fuji. It was so spectacular that I just had to take a photo. Just as I was about to put my phone away, my mom called. Of course I answered. Immediately all I could hear from all sides was psh 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 psh. Psst, 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 woof, psst, psst. Even a dog looked at me angry. In Japan, silence on the train is sacred. I think that's great, but also extremely impractical in everyday life. Imagine you met a friend on the train and want to tell him a new joke before you forget it. No chance, they will arrest you. Then I briefly thought I had ended up at the wrong train. Maybe the Sahara Express. I didn't know Japan had a desert. We passed the tutorial sand dunes. Without thinking, I got off the train and threw myself into the sand. It was truly beautiful there. But after the tower of my sandcastle collapsed and I had sand in every crevice of my body, I got so hot that I traveled on the famous Mihowantenbo beach. There was crystal clear water, almost like in Thailand, but without the tourists and without the Thais. Japan, you are incredible. I jumped into the water in my new swim trunks. My mom gave to me, but when I got out, everyone was staring at me. At first I thought they were admiring my calves, but no, they had seen my tramp stamp tattoo. They asked me if I was in the mafia. In Japan, tattoos are the trademark of the Yakuza. I explained them that I don't follow any rules in GTA. I'm not a gangster. The tattoo was just the result of a very wild night in Mexico 10 years ago. Before the real mafia showed up, I was on my way again. Japan, you were incredible. I definitely wasn't ready for you. Which places did I miss? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next country.